Hello, hello, stargazers. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, Blank. Hello, Nona. Hello, Hershey. How are you all doing? Thank you so much for the lurk, Hershey. I really appreciate it. I hope you're all having a lovely, lovely day today. Happy day. It's the weekend, right? Happy Saturday. Hello, hello, Vessa. Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, alright. Make sure that we are all set here. Got everything set up, ready to go. Meku Meku, hello there! Welcome in, welcome in! How is everything going? I hope everything is going well today. Alright, I just want to make sure that I have all the things set up here. I think we are good. I'm pretty sure. I tried to be more prepared today. So hopefully we did well. How are you all doing today? I hope everyone is having a lovely day today. I've been thinking so much about, like, end-of-year stuff, and, I'm trying to get a few, like, final commissions done for the end of the year. And then I'm just sort of trying to figure out where I want to go for next year. So, I want to definitely do, like, more experimentation, more things with, like, painterly brushstroke type things. So, I thought for stream today it would be fun to go and take a look at a project style that I haven't done in a while now. It's probably been like a year since we've done this, almost. But I am hoping to try to do a master study. So for those of you who don't know what a master study is, you take a artwork that you're very, very inspired by and you try to do a direct copy of it while giving credit to the artist, of course. And you can actually learn a lot about different artist techniques by doing master studies. So I thought that would be fun today. Quite sick, don't know how long I'll be able to watch. No worries, Blank, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you feel better soon. I know that it's kind of that time of year, so if you have to step out at any point, no worries at all. I'm doing good, I'm on a long car ride. Ooh, I hope the car ride's going well. Clarification, copying does not mean tracing. Yeah, it's very different. So, master studies are kind of a confusing thing to people, but basically, you are not copying and taking credit for the work. You are not tracing and trying to imitate the artist entirely. The goal of it is to look and observe, and you're gonna be working side by side. It'll be more clear when we get started. But the main thing is that you are using it as a practice and as a study, and you always want the original artist name to be very clear and very visible, right? It's just for learning. And because you're not tracing, you are thinking much more about how you're doing it. If you're gonna be doing tracing as a beginner artist, I think it's okay to do, just because it's like, if you don't post it online, right? If you're just using it for yourself, if it's just for practice at home, master studies, I think, are okay because it's sort of a side-by-side. You're always showing the original. So that is the difference today. And it's called a master study because you are learning from the master, right? It is something very, very commonly done at art museums. A lot of artists and art students go to art museums to do master studies of existing works. So this is a professional practice, and you can definitely feel free to do it with any art that you admire. I generally try to go for artists that are very, very well known, very, very famous. You know, you don't want to take the thunder of someone who's sort of like at or under your level, right? They're sort of learning alongside with you. So I always try to go for artists who are very, very well known, real masters, totally above me. But yeah. We just picked up an old dog we had. He was lost in the Humane Society. Picked him up and called us to pick him up. Oh, okay. Well, I hope it goes well. I hope the trip goes well. Judgmental Cat, thank you so much for resubscribing. I really, really appreciate it. How are you doing today? I hope everything is going well. And I have got to fix my alerts. I still can't hear them on my end. Alrighty. So, with that, let's move over to our main scene today. And I'll show you sort of what we're working on. So this piece is by Dino. It's short for illustration. This is an artist on Twitter and Instagram. And I am very, very inspired by the brush strokes that they have in the hair. Let's see if I can show you guys. Like, it's a very, very loose technique. They're not spending too much time rendering. This is probably, like, it would not shock me if this was a sketch for them, right? But there's a lot of movement and motion and fluidity to this piece. They also have an amazing sense of color theory, right? Especially like on the skin here, and these very harsh glows. There's a lot of ambiance to the piece. So that's sort of what I wanted to try to be inspired by today. Now to do this, best thing to do is to sort of try to break down the steps that they were using as well, right? So my guess is that this was started with some sort of sketch, so I will go to a brush that I normally use for sketching, just sort of test it out here. It looks like they weren't afraid to already go fairly deep with the color. And the other thing I want to try to attempt to do is not color pick, right? Like, another thing that you can do from this is try to learn from the colors, and if you just color pick directly onto the study, you're not going to learn as much. So I'm just going to start off here with a... Actually, hang on, let me just throw this on. There we go. I just want to get the rough shape here, figure out about where it is on the canvas. We're doing a lot of comparison and contrasting, right? I'm just going to use a... Oh! Shoot, am I on the wrong layer? I am on the wrong layer. Let's fix that real quick. I'm gonna do some comparison here about where things are. Now, I'm sure they were not doing this when they were doing the piece. Obviously, they don't need to compare against something that was a blank sheet of paper, but I'm doing it just to figure out where the composition is for this piece that this person created. So I'm just figuring out, like, about how much does the hair take up, about how much does the shoulder take up, the hand, and everything. And I'm just sort of getting a sense for where things are. The hand with the apple. And I think this is about right. It might be a little bit off. We don't have to go super perfect here, right? We just want to get the general idea. And I'm just gonna try doing this all in one stream. So, you know, we're getting the approximations. I think the hand in this piece is actually fairly long. So I think it actually goes down a bit like this. Looks like a character from Reverse 1999. I still need to check out more of the art from that. But yeah, I could see that. I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit more. And I'm just gonna start paying more attention to some of the more solid forms that they have. So we've got the arm here. It's gonna be a little bit thicker. Again, I'm comparing how much space is here between where the armpit is, right? And I'm looking and comparing. This is a little off. Now, why is this off? Let me try to observe why it might be off. I think this shoulder might go down a little bit more, a little forward here. It's also sometimes tricky to figure out how far things are, because something that is uncolored versus colored will have a different perception of space, if that makes sense. So, you know, if there's all this shadow and light and color and everything, it might look skinnier or wider than it is in actuality. Also, Vessa, thank you so much for resubscribing on Twitch. I know that you were saying before that it was confusing earlier, but thank you, thank you. Also, hello, Sea Hero, and hello, Judgmental Cat. I know I said hi to Judgmental Cat, but hello, Sea Hero. Alright. Make that a little bit straighter, I think. This is gonna be a lot stiffer than the original, I'm sure, because, you know, they had a way of doing this in a much more fluid motion, and I'm just trying to be the copycat. So mine's not gonna look nearly as fluid. But if I can learn something from the technique, then it will be a successful master study. You know, if I can learn something about how the original artist was working. And yes, thank you, Grim. That is the question of the day. What is your dream commission? We're sort of, you know, we're in the holiday spirit, and a lot of people are doing like Christmas lists and wish lists and everything, so I'm curious, if money was like no object, what would be your dream commission? And I'm sure most people are gonna say animated something, but I'm still curious. Alright, let's try to figure out where the hair is and the head shape here. Again, comparing the lengths. And this is going to be a little bit tricky with the hand. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. I think the brush that they're using is even thinner than what I have now. Well, probably because they're more zoomed in than I am in general. But I'm trying to make sure that I have these side by side at the same time. So I'm just focusing on the fingers. Now, another thing that I noticed with anime fingers recently, which is interesting, is that they usually omit the, drawing the third, not the digit, not the knuckle. Your finger is spaced out into 3 segments, and I noticed that with anime, they usually just draw the first 2, and then very rarely do they make an indication of the third one, which I thought was interesting. And it kind of, in a way, helps the piece look more delicate. Because you're not worried as much about structure, it's more about flow. Dream at the moment would be a live 2D model. Any fan art for 21 Pilots? I don't really know. Fan art for 21 Pilots, that's an interesting one. A heavily stained glass or mosaic piece of kaku. Oh, man. Maybe you might have to collab with Grim someday. Alright, I think this needs to be maybe a little bit... a little bit higher? Eh, it's probably okay. I'll be more painterly with this, so I won't have to worry too much. And of course this apple is very, deformed at the moment, so let me just go and fix this real quick. And then this pinky area here, and this hand needs to be a little bit skinnier. Now, I'm still not as confident as other anime artists when it comes to drawing people, so I still end up doing a lot, overpainting and chicken scratching more than I'd like to. But that's why these practices are good, these studies are good. I was right, this is Schneider from Reverse 1999. The artist's Twitter states it, and they've done some other 1999 stuff. Ooh, interesting. Also, Squiddy Kids, hello, hello, welcome in, welcome in. How's everything going? I hope you are doing well. Alright, are we almost here? I think we're just about to the point where this is fairly close. And then we just have to add a little bit more with the face. You know, features of the face would be useful, I think. You know, I should try to work with a slightly smaller pen, because I do like that, that more delicate feel it gives when it's a little bit thinner here. It's just hard because I'm not super used to doing it that way. Alright, let's get this here. There we go. Alright, let's say that's fairly accurate. Fairly accurate, yeah. Alright. Shoulders may be a little bit tougher because the bone here is sticking out. Been good? What are you doing? I am doing what is called a Masterstudy. So I am working on doing a study of a piece that is done by a very, very talented, well-known artist named Dino. And I'm seeing what I can learn by trying to copy it. And I'm planning to do, like, the whole thing on stream, so we're not, you know, we're not spending too much time focusing on every individual detail, but we're just trying to see what we can learn from it, and it's a really good exercise for artists to do. Oh, hang on one sec here. What happened here? Up, go away. Shoo, what are you doing? Hang on. Why is my... Huh. What on earth? My, I pressed something and the, another music player took over, and now I don't know why. Why are you... Shoot. There we go. Alright. Are we good? Alright, we're good. Sorry, I hit something and it changed players for some weird reason. It wanted to play pirate music. I don't know why. Alright, this needs to be... Yeah, this definitely needs to be lower. There we go. I like how the last few seconds of that song came on and it sounded like a welcome back to the episode jingle. I don't know, it wanted to play pirate music, so I feel like you're behind it somehow. Jake and Drago, hello! I picked up drawing again and remember how laggy and slow my Photoshop is, and thus burned everything once again. JK, I'll try again tomorrow. Oof. Yeah, Photoshop is definitely, like, I definitely have my issues with it personally. I am, like, 100% Clip Studio at this point. Alright, let's see here. How... You know, these are anime eyes, so they're gonna be a little bit larger. And I'll refine the shape a little bit better, but I just want to get the rough placement down, you know? And there's gonna be like a very, very delicate, subtle nose here. A little bit further out, or... Yeah, I think a little bit further out. Because it's fairly close to the edge of the face. And this needs to be much closer, I think, so how can I do that? Alright, I think this finger here needs to be moved up a little. I'm actually just gonna drag that up. Because I think it's just that one. There we go, and I feel like the face is actually shorter. You know, with anime, the proportions can be kind of hard to follow, I think. But something like that, a little bit closer. Yeah, definitely, definitely. That makes that tiny little change honestly makes a huge difference of, like, bringing things closer, having it look more demure. I think that's a big element. And then I'm just going to quickly... base out, like, around where the hairline is, you know? I'm making this a little bit more, slightly more accurate just in terms of shape and space. Bessa, why? I gotta get back to work. Good to lurking I go. Alright, Krim. Thank you for stopping by. Vessa, why? Why do you do this? Achoo! I just wanted to draw a simple meme. Yes, I totally should move to Clip Studio as well, also for animation GIF stuff. Yeah, ooh, that's definitely a good point for it too. I got Clip Studio 3 months ago, haven't drawn on it a lot, but I love the program. It's a very clean, lightweight program. It's a nice program. Alright. What was I doing before here? Hair. Hair. Let me make sure that the hair doesn't throw me so off because I'm, like, needing to pay more attention with where it goes. Alright, and then that's gonna be a whole thing, and it's gonna sort of have an end about there. That's good. Okay, so now we've got our... Well, okay, let me just quickly get in the eyebrows here. There's always one more step, right? There we go. That'll look better once it's painted, hopefully. Now... Oh, nope, okay. Nope, can't color pick, can't color pick. Let's try... Do I have a gouache or something here? Let's try this one. It's gonna be a little darker gray, probably? Let's see here. There's actually a lot of different color variation in this. So I wonder, like, how long it took them to make the background. I'm just sort of experimenting with brushes at the moment because I don't actually know what some of my brushes do. There's definitely a lot of cool factors in here. Man, I would do anything to see some of this person's process. I think it's a little bit of a darker green, I want to say here. And there's still definitely some blue here. It's a pretty subtle blue. These are all very, very subtle, cool tones, I have to say. So I'm sure that this was, like, very quick brush stroke for the artist, but since I'm trying to copy it a little more intensely, it's gonna be a little harder for me to grasp, I think. And I think they also have some very textured brushes going on. I'm not quite sure what they're using. Do I like streaming on YouTube? Yeah, it's been great for me. Do you like watching on YouTube? That's the real question, right? Alright. I definitely feel like this needs to be darker. I'm not quite... A little, maybe a little bit warmer. It's warmer, isn't it? I didn't even notice the background was green. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of subtleties in it. There's, like, warm oranges and cool blues and greens, like, all throughout it in a weird way. But it's all very, very subtle. There's some sort of, like, splattery paintbrush they're using, so I'm just gonna try to throw in, like, some rough scatter effects and get a bit more of that texture going that they have. I need more traditional brushes. I haven't really been able to figure out my comfort level with them, though. But I know a lot of, like, Photoshop painters can usually, or Corel painters, they can get a lot of the traditional feeling in there. I still can't quite get things to feel traditional. For me, it still feels very, very digital and techy, and I want my stuff to feel a little bit more traditional than it currently does. Alright, I think that's probably good enough for the background for now. Yeah, I was usually watching Twitch. I feel like there's a lot of merit to YouTube, and being curious helped me find you, so definitely. Well, that's cool. I was wondering, like, this is something I like to ask of everybody, like, how do you find my streams, right? Like, how did you find me on YouTube? That's what I'm curious about. I like watching on Twitch and YouTube, but Twitch has been buggy for me, so I just switched to YouTube for a bit. Yeah, that's fair. It actually helps a lot, when you do watch on YouTube, because I am trying to, trying to not use the eyedropper on this piece, and it's hard. It does help a lot on YouTube, because I am trying to hit those, like, you know, watch hours and whatnot. Is that gonna be right? I feel like it's gonna be a little warmer. Now, I don't know what this person used for their base color, or what they did for shadow, so I just sort of have to go by observation, which is definitely gonna make this more difficult, and I can't really break down the process as much. Also, can you tell I've never really done a master study that focuses on a person? My master studies have always been, much more simplified. You know what, I think my guess is that they might have done, like, the whole thing in shadow, and then added highlights. I don't know why, that's just sort of the vibe I'm getting, so I'm gonna try doing the entire thing in shadow. Searched VTube Art Live, and you were one of the first results and was interested? Oh, that's so cool! Were you using the live stream panel in YouTube? Because we're always trying to figure out if people use that panel or not. But yeah, that's also why, in all of my, titles for my streams, I have on the stream Starlight Artist VTuber, so it picks up those keywords, right? So every stream I always title it at the end with that. Just in case it helps. So it sounds like it might have. I use the category, the panel needs more browse options. I agree there. I found you through, like, a con? I forget which one, but you were redrawing your old art. A con? Oh my gosh! Wait a minute. That was like when I first started. Oh my goodness. Mecha, have you been subscribed for, like... Was it a furry con? Was it an online furry con? That was so long ago, my goodness. That's the only con I've done so far. I really want to do more, but... Are online cons still a thing? I'd love to do, in-person cons someday too, but are online cons still a thing? I'm very curious about that. I haven't heard much about them. YouTube side recommended video works, and do try to recommend live people I sub to. Then the side sub channels who go bleh. Why am I having so much bleh. Why is it so hard to read this comment? YouTube side recommended videos works. Do try to recommend live people I sub to, then the side sub channels who go live of your own top results. Yeah, that's true. For me, it was more a matter of, like, you know, how did you initially find me if you weren't subbed, I guess? I don't know. It always helps to learn more about, like, the discoverability of the platform and everything. Alright, there's definitely, like, straight up purple in here. I feel like this is too saturated for what I'm doing, though. I tend to... This doesn't feel saturated, but then on the canvas it does. It's almost gray. And then I think it gets fairly, like, almost gray-yellow here? What is going on with these colors? And then the face is much. I can color pick my own work. That's fine. I just can't color pick their work. So if you see me starting to color pick, it's okay if it's my own work. The idea is to not start color picking from them. Because I color pick just to blend colors, so that's fine. Yeah, this face is definitely very, very red. Get a Quest 2 and do VR chat cons. I have not, I've considered VR chat cons in the past. I don't know how big they are, though. Oh, okay, you're Kenzie Games. Okay, got you. No, that makes so much more sense. Sorry. It's hard for me to keep up when people change names. That makes a lot more sense, though. I can't tell if I'm going, like, too far with the details now. I don't really know what the process of this artist was, so it's kind of hard to know, like, what to start with. Question, out of all the pictures by this artist, why did you select this one to do the master study for? It actually came up on my Instagram feed this morning, and, this artist usually does a lot of, like, full body with intense backgrounds, and this was a piece that was just very, like, personal and close up, and there was just a lot of emotion and subtlety to it, and I felt that because it was just basically the face and the hand, that it would be easier to tackle without getting too overwhelmed on all the details and stuff. Like, there's not as much going on, so it's a little bit easier to absorb, I think. It's very, very focused on just the main subject, so you can get very close to it, literally. Seemed like it spoke to you, seemed personal. I wouldn't necessarily say, like, personal, but, like, it's just, there's something about it that, you know, it's not normally what I typically do. I mean, I even had to ask someone if it looked like it might be too out of my wheelhouse. But I think there's a lot going for it, mainly in its subtlety. And I think that sort of subtlety, and also the beautiful lighting, is a huge part of it for me too. There's a lot to learn from this lighting. And because there's not a lot going on, it's very easy to just focus on the main subject. Now, it looks like I just grabbed like a purple, but all I actually did was desaturate the red. And I'm just looking and comparing. And I'm learning a lot as I'm speaking, too. Just sort of talking to you guys about the process I'm doing helps me kind of solidify it in my head as I'm speaking. Like, oh, this makes sense because of this. And it's not something I would realize internally without, like, saying it out loud, if that makes sense. This probably needs to be way darker. I'm very bad at pushing contrast and value. It's something I really want to be working on. This is actually a very, very dark shadow on a very light color. I'm also, you can't quite see, but I'm also squinting a bit when I work and trying to get the overall feeling of the color scheme. Right? So this is a lot darker, and if you squint, you'll actually see that this is a lot closer than what I had before. Even though it feels like it's going to be too dark, it actually works quite well. I have such a fear of using dark colors. It's something I really want to try to get over. I think that the thing with me and the dark colors is I'm always terrified of, like, muddying it, so I always end up making it, like, overly saturated, but then it still isn't, it doesn't have the contrast it needs, you know? I'm gonna need to start putting in the light, otherwise the values are gonna throw me off. So I'm gonna first put in the hair again. And I'm going to try to keep this all into one layer, just because I think it's meant to be very... See? That's too saturated. I tend to lean towards saturation, so I need to keep desaturating it. I'm gonna make the base very dark. And then it's gonna be lighter where the light source is hitting it. And there's actually there's a lot of red in here, I think. It might have been smarter to separate this as another layer, but it's too late now. Sometimes less distraction allows you to bring out the most in the subject. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, I'm gonna start switching to a different brush, because I'm not... This is good for blocking, but I'm not quite sure where to go with it regularly. And then there's a fair amount of lighter color here. It's just sort of that darker area. What would be good? Maybe this one? No. I'm not super familiar with all of my brushes, so... This is more like an ink brush. No, that one's good. I like this. This feels right. And because this is so loose, it's gonna be very tough to follow, even remotely. There's a lot of artistic brush strokes being used in here. I can't easily mimic that, you know? But I'll try to just get the overall feeling of it. Because they're probably just moving so much from, you know, color and shape and everything, it's just very hard to make something that looks close. There's not a lot to follow, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to get the main shapes that they're using. But there's so much, like, artistic brush stroke work to this. Not something that you can easily replicate. This is a nice brush. I think this is gonna be one that I sort of take note on. You also using this as sort of a way to experiment with different brushes, you know? Seems to be a lot wider. Again, I'm looking at negative space, right? There's a big piece of negative space here that I need to make sure I'm capturing. This hair is so much fuller than what I have right now. So I'm just actually going to just... whoop. It's fine. It works. I'm not gonna get nearly the same level of energy that this person has, but I can try to approximate it. Because they're just... I think the thing that draws me so much to Dino's work is there's just so much loose artistic energy in these pieces, you know? Like, there's not any overthinking or overpainting or anything. It's just, it's a very raw-looking piece. Like, even down to just leaving little strokes and things here and there, you know? And just not worrying about erasing or redoing, just sort of leaving them in there and having them be fairly natural looking. Which is hard to make look natural when you're copying it. It's like, I almost envy how loose they can get with their pieces, and it's something I really want to try to bring more into mine. Yay! I can't see everything, sorry. I got lost in the hair, I'm sorry. I literally got lost in the hair. Wait, did it not work for you? Did it not work for you? Didn't hear it. All right, I'm gonna give you a freebie one more time just to test it. Let me know if this is actually like going through or not. Because if it's not, I don't know how to fix it, and I'm gonna have to fix it again. No, okay. I'll have to fix that again. Oh! Never gonna reset OBS again, like, ever. A little bit more. Something's off with the amount with sizes and whatnot. Alright, good enough, I think. It's so close to the edge, but without feeling like broken tangents. It's incredible. Why do you need to reset it to begin with? I forgot. Most of the stuff that I had been using in general were breaking, and I just sort of thought, like, okay, might as well just reset everything and hope that everything starts not breaking after this, and it didn't work. Like, a lot of stuff is still broken. It was mainly stream elements that I was trying to fix, and unfortunately that is also still broken. So there's like no winning. Yeah. No, sorry, not stream elements. Streamloots. Streamloots is still not where it should be. I don't think it's on Streamloots though. I think it's how OBS is behaving, because it doesn't want to be happy and it doesn't want to make me happy. I changed my phone language to Italian and now I can't get it back to English. Why do I do this? Why did you change it to Italian in the first place? Are you trying to learn Italian? Alright, let's make these hair strands a little bit more natural looking. I just like Italian things, fair enough. Alright, I think this is good. There's a little bit of skin showing through the hair here. So much different hair strokes going. I don't get how you'd even keep track of this. I do want to get better at fancier hair though, so this is helpful. Fancier hair seems fun to draw when you actually know what you're doing. And then this needs to be way darker. This is what I was saying, that I'm not good with the darker intensity color. Alright, let's try just going over it and then throwing on a multiply layer. I'm not trying to be super lazy, this should have been darker. Yeah, that's better. That sort of helps get to the next stage of this, you know? If I was smart, I definitely would have separated the hair layer. Good to know for next time. That would have made my life easier. Actually, okay, the whole thing needs a wash of a darker color. This is still way too light for what I need to work with. I'm just not good at bridging that gap, you know? It just takes a lot of added contrast. So I'm just gonna go over the whole face, maybe a little bit of the shadow again. I'm gonna try to maybe erase and soften it a little. But yeah, overall this whole area needs to be a little bit darker. And it's like, it's fairly subtle, but it still makes a huge difference for accuracy to this painting. You see what I'm saying? Like, this darkness of the face looks a lot closer. So I just needed to throw that in. And now I think I should start adding in the highlight because I'm not going to be able to know where I'm going otherwise. So let's start adding in the bright, bright highlight. This has very little saturation. It's more so just on the edges, so we'll probably airbrush that later. The only thing I can say in Italian is I understand a little Italian. Fair. It's probably very warm. I love things with rim light. It's such a cheat in a way. Like, rim light just looks good no matter what artist uses it. But I love using rim light. Or just strong light and shadow, which is sad because I need to keep pushing my shadows and contrast to work better. Like I was saying before. But when you can get it right, it looks so good. You can just naturally make scenes that utilize this. This is why this is a master painting, you know? Dino's a master. One of those things where you hope that someday people will do a master painting of your work, you know? I have to first start by not only doing commissions, though. I have to actually have some original pieces that would make good master studies. That would be a good start. This is definitely a little too red, but I will adjust it. And there's such subtlety in, like, you know, even just how the different muscles are being shown in simplification, you know? Shouldn't color that yet. It's probably gonna have to change hue in just a second. This is not turning out bad, considering I barely know what I'm doing. Alright, we need to warm this up. There we go, that's better. Sachiko, hello, hello! Welcome in, welcome in. How are you doing today? Alright, this definitely is a lot more saturation, actually. The shoulder has a good amount of saturation here. And then the blush on the shoulder is also very strong. I think I like this brush because it's probably one of the most painterly types I've used that has a little bit of texture going in it. Although I have to be very subtle about how I move across it. It's easy to overdo it, I think. This brush is not as blendy as the one I normally use, so... You have to be very, very subtle and very light-handed with how you're doing it to get it to work for you nicely. Alright, and then this is like kind of a pure white highlight right here. Now it's actually not as pure as I thought. Okay. Let's go back. Let's redo that. Let's make that fairly close, but not entirely. Yeah, that's better. It looked like a pure white, but it actually was not a pure white. Fun facts. This is why you can learn so much just from doing these master studies. You get a real sense of like how they're using color, you know? Very, very important stuff to learn. And then it looks here like they were pretty soft with how they did the back. It almost looks like it was airbrushed. I almost want to say airbrushed or blurred. So let's sort of try to experiment there. And there's also a tiny bit of rim light going on in the back here. Very, very subtle. This also feels like it needs to be less saturated. I think I'm just going to start airbrushing that. And there's a little bit of yellow, I want to say, to sort of soften everything here. And then this is, I want to say it's pretty much blurred here. Maybe a little less. Armando, hello, hello! Welcome in, welcome in. There we go. Yeah, that blending and blurring is actually doing a lot of work here. Finally got my phone back in English, good job. Okay, this is crazy. Like, this sort of looks a little dark shaded, maybe. And then if you put it on the light color, it looks even darker. It's so hard. It's so hard to judge these things sometimes, you know? Alright, there's definitely a lot more yellow going on here. So I'm just gonna kind of brush it a little bit lighter. And a little bit more saturation right where the edge meets here. You see that? And I'm also going to add a bit more saturation along the edges so that we get that nice glow effect that she has here. That glow effect is very important. And it's going to be very, very important over here. I want to make this a very strong stroke because this is a ambient occlusion. There's going to be very little blurring, whereas as it goes down on her back, it's all blurred. Right, sort of that mix of light, soft and hard edges. I can't make it look as natural as they did, but something to this effect. And then there's also a big subtlety here with the transition. And then this part seems a lot darker, actually, where it meets the armpit. There we go. And this is slightly lighter, but very, very slightly. Hard to do with the strokes, honestly. Alright, I think the back is actually looking fairly accurate, which is good. I'm just gonna liquefy it a bit here, because the shoulder and highlight look to be a little higher. I have to go, may come back to watch later. Alright, no worries, Meku. We'll probably be here for another hour or so. But have a good rest of your day. Appreciate you stopping by. Out there, I think is good. I'm just sort of changing the shadows based on the strokes I'm seeing. This has a little bit more of a blend to it. It's not as strict. This is not like pure cell shading. There's a lot of painterly, soft and hard shadows going on. Alright, now I want to start tackling the edge of the hand here. So that's going to be very light yellow, somewhat glowy. Kind of going all the way around the edge again here. And this person is almost able to make the piece look hot in temperature, which is very interesting. And there's like, it feels like there's a heat coming from the piece. I want to see if I can capture that as best I can. And it probably has to do with like a lot of subtle saturation, right? Like a tiny bit here helps a lot. A little bit here under the wrist. Here on the fingers. This is almost like a peach. But it works very well for sort of that undercurrent color. There's also these two little lines that I forgot about. And then the fruit here, I think it's an apple, but it's hard to say. I'm just gonna base it out in one color here first. I should have done this earlier, but that's okay. I'm just gonna see what happens if I try to lightly airbrush it over the edge here. Right? It's a little bit of, subsurface scattering, a little bit of, highlight, bounce light. Bounce light, there we go, that's the word I was looking for. I mean, there is a bit of subsurface scattering here as well, but it's mainly the bounce light that I was looking for. This is a very strong orange. And this strong orange is also being repeated against the shadows. You can also see it present in some of the hair as well. It's just sort of thrown in to unify everything else. I also noticed we're kind of losing her blush, so I'm gonna try bringing that back a little bit. I'm just gonna try to airbrush it a little bit stronger so that we don't lose it. And I think what will really help is when we recolor these lines to be a little closer to the original piece. That is making the lines much lighter. Much more ephemeral feeling. I mean, towards the edge here, you can really see how there's hardly any line work in here at all. Alright, this just went a little bit out of bounds, so we'll fix that up here. And then where there is lines, it's very, very vibrant. You can also see it a little bit here on the underside. And a little bit of saturation here as well. And I think it's actually blurred on the edge as we get further away from the camera, which is very cool. I'm gonna do a little bit of blurring here. And a little bit outside on the edge pieces here. And it just gives us more of a sense of movement as well. We're just gonna really, really keep saturating it. Getting that very warm color going, right? Like I was saying before, I'm trying to get something that feels like it has a lot of heat. There we go. I think we're getting there. I think we're exploring that idea pretty strongly. I don't know why, but I feel like I kind of went, like, weirdly Bob Ross there for a moment. Just sort of trying to talk about what I'm doing and why, and... I don't know. Music made my voice get softer. Alright, this has a little bit of green. Oh, not that much green. It's probably more desaturated than I think. It's honestly probably more like a... Yep. It's like a desaturated yellow, not a green. It's crazy, you think it's a green and it's actually more like a gray. That seems to happen a lot here. Also interesting to note that there's very subtle condensation beads on this. There's a lot of parts here that make it feel like a very fresh fruit. It's definitely more saturated, a little bit lighter. still darker than we'd think. Gonna head a bit early today, have fun, and hope the art goes well. Looks great so far. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, Vessa, and I appreciate you hanging out. Doing this master study makes me realize how many speed paints that I have to post on YouTube that I have not gotten around to doing yet. Because I'm just like, oh, I need to make a speed paint of this later, and then I'm just like, how many speed paints do I still have to post that I haven't tackled? I'll be sneaky and leave the stream open for YouTube watch hours. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's also what I need to keep reminding people of. If you need to head out, but you can leave YouTube going, then it does help a lot. If you're heading out and just leave the stream to help with the watch hours, it's greatly appreciated. Alright. Are we getting any closer to the finish of this fruit? I think we are. I'm just softening up the highlight because I realized this is a little bit softer as well. Maybe not that soft. Maybe I softened it too much. Just a little bit on the edges. Should be fine. There we go. You're never gonna get the strokes perfect with the Master Study, but close enough still works. I'm just trying to subtly adjust this here. Maybe I'll just grab it. There we go. There we go. And then this is, this part with the line art is also a little too thick. And then this needs so much more saturation, my goodness. I'm just gonna grab some from the apple and throw that right onto the fingers. I don't want this to feel too gray, right? It's feeling a little gray right now, so let's just try, you know, kicking it up a notch. I'm gonna go back to a little bit of a harsher brush for those really deep highlights. And I'm gonna go back to my line art and we're gonna get really saturated here so that things just feel much brighter, you know? The line art's actually making a huge difference in making things feel more vibrant. And I think once I am done with the eyes, I'm just gonna also make sure to finish this off with sort of an add glow effect and really push the highlight and the shadow effects that we're getting here. Alright. The eyes are probably going to be one of the trickiest parts for me. So let's see what we're able to do anyway. I'm almost going to actually erase this nearly entirely. Because I just want a very, very subtle direction to go. And then for the rest of this, I'm just gonna try to go from direct observation here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that really intense highlight that Dino's able to get. But we're gonna see where we can take it at least. You know, eyes are the windows to the soul, so it's important that these don't look terrible. Do you think I should do this on a separate layer? I think I should do this on a separate layer. I messed up with the hair. I don't want to do this with the eyes. So I'm doing the eyes on a separate layer. And I see that there's like a lot of strokes going on for the individual eyelashes, so I'm also trying to pay attention to that. It looks like they weren't super careful when they were doing the eyelid part, just sort of feeling for the rough section of it. Maybe that's painted over a little bit more and I can't see it, but... This is fairly rough. I'm just not as used to this style. So I'm trying to follow it maybe a little too closely, but that's okay. This part they were definitely able to just sort of rough it in. I don't really have that luxury. There we go. A little bit larger, so these are even, and I keep trying to check back and forth, you know? Make sure these work more or less the way they should. Again, we're gonna sort of... Oh, did I do this in color? No. There we go. Sort of make this barely faded. I'm gonna do this very quickly with the eyebrows. These are really subtle. The strokes are really tiny. But there's so much expression in just the eyebrows alone. The eyebrows can kind of make or break this, so I'm trying to be careful. I think this needs to be less intense. And maybe a little bit lower. Just very subtly. There we go. I think that's better. This is gonna go around the face a bit more. This is just straight up pure orange around the edge here. Alright, I'm not feeling as nervous about how I'm doing the eyes here. I'm still not sure how well they'll work out, but we'll try it. Kasu, hello, welcome in, welcome in. How are you doing today? I hope everything's going well. Let's see. Yeah, this is such a make or break part of it, you know? Put a little bit of a darker base here. And I think I'm gonna have to lighten the eyebrow above just a little bit. And it, oh, you know what? This is so foolish. I didn't even realize how well the fruit was matching the eyes in color. I think they're meant to mirror each other, so that's very cool. I'm good, and finally someone managed to say my name correctly? Wait, how do most people say it? How do you mess that up? I'm afraid to say it again in case I mess it up again. How do people normally say it? Kasu, right? I don't... How else would you say that? Most people just mess it up. I don't know how to explain it. Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Well, welcome in, welcome in. We're happy to have you here. I am just sort of doing a master study at the moment. I'm working, studying the work of Dino. He's a very, very talented artist, and I'm just sort of trying to pick up the lighting and shading techniques from them and see what we can get. They don't like the Asu part? I mean, I don't think it's meant to be anything. It's just like, okay, you know what? I hear it like, you know, Cass with like a little bit at the end, and it sort of makes me think of, what was that, Neopets? Cass. There's a lot of character. No! Zelda! Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Cass. So, Kasu just makes sense to me, you know? Neopets. I don't know why I said Neopets. Also, thank you so much, Kaku! Yeah, I'm having fun with this piece, honestly. Yeah, Alright, I still feel like the cheek needs to be, pushed in, though. I think we're really close, it's just there's still some subtlety. Her cheek is not as large. It's a little bit... And her eyes... go in a bit more. These very soft eyes here. Alright, is that... Need to go back a little bit more. Let me just go back here and compare and contrast as we've been doing. And then go out a little bit. Yeah, okay. I think that feels more accurate. Cass is what I have most people call me for the reason of pronunciation problems. Well, I'm fine saying Kasu. As long as I continue to say it right. I feel like I'm gonna mess up at some point, but... You just call me Cassie or Cass? I really don't care which one you use. Okay. Noted, noted. These eyes are gonna be tricky here. And this is a lot darker and a lot more red, I think. I think there's a lot more red in these eyes than I have currently. Comparing and contrasting is the name of the game here. It is also one of my favorite brushes now after today. What do they have? Oh, is that part of the highlight? Okay. I like the semi-realism nature of the eye. It's like, it's definitely anime with how large it is, but there's definitely some realism being taken into account here, which is cool. This is definitely one of my favorite styles, I have to say. Alright. Managed to finish this commission I've been working on. Ooh, nice. Were you doing something for the holidays? Alright, and then this needs to be a little bit... Oh! Way too much. Oh, the subtleties in these are so intense. No, but kinda. Fair enough, fair enough. Are there, like, there are, okay, there's a lot of, like, very, very, very subtle strokes going on with these eyes. I can barely see them, but especially, like, where the blush is, there's definitely something very... This gonna be too dark? No, I think I can lighten this up a little, okay. Nope, that is still too dark. Try something this subtle. The chef asked me to make him a Japanese-style kitchen knife for some money, and now I finally finished it, since apparently the chef didn't have a good or reliable knife yet. Oh! Wow. So, wait, is metalsmithing your work? That would be metalsmithing, right? Crafting a kitchen knife? That is really cool. Kinda. I mostly do it for fun. It's still really cool. I don't think I know, I don't think I know a metalsmith. I know a in VTubing anyway, I know a glassworker and I know a wood carver. I do not know a metalsmith. So that's really cool. Oh, blacksmith. Okay. Now, I know I've asked this before in some instance. Isn't there a difference between, like, there can be a blacksmith, there can be a whitesmith, and it doesn't have to do with, like, the type of metal you use or something? I don't know. I remember I was curious about this earlier and I was asking someone about it. Trying to get the subtlety of this tiny amount of eye white here. Okay. And then there's definitely pieces with the eyelashes. I'm going to struggle so much when I have to work on the hair. I'd choose any metal I can find, but mostly steel since it's strong and not too heavy. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's honestly really cool, though. And then this is going to be so tricky. There's gonna be a little bit of a gray in here. And let me see if I can try airbrushing it just to get the base highlight feeling. You gotta say the Great Wave of Kanagawa design engraved on the blade looks sick. Nice. I'm back. I just finished a 5-hour-long car ride. Oh my goodness. That sounds intense. Yeah. I hope it went well, though. Oh, I'm on an airbrush. No wonder everything's not working correctly. I'm like, these strokes are not as strong as they should be. There we go. This highlight needs to be way more subtle. Nearly invisible. There's a part of me that feels like I should have done the hair first, because that's kind of the part that I don't want to do now. But that's okay. I think I can make this way darker, especially for the black of the pupil. Sometimes it's hard to, like, sometimes you have to use almost pure black, and other times it's like you should be very subtle with gray, and then you kind of you forget to jump back and forth a little. But this works. Let me try and make this like that. I'm not really sure what's going on with this color, honestly. I can't quite figure it out. Maybe just something subtle like this would be good. I can at least see like what the artist is trying to achieve. The subtlety is amazing to me. It looks like a, you know, fairly simple-ish piece until you really start looking into it more. And then you start seeing all the strange nuances in it, I think. And then this piece needs to be, I need to start strengthening this hand a little bit more. It's very blurry at the moment. It needs a little bit more oomph. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah, a little bit of that hand painting work is useful. Alright, then I think I'm just gonna throw a little bit of a very, very subtle add glow around the hands here. Just to sort of brighten up the edges, like I was mentioning earlier. I really don't want to overdo this. I normally overdo it heavily, but I really don't want to overdo it this time. And then I'm just gonna change this to add, and then I want to really reduce that. It's just meant to give a little bit of an extra warmth to things. See, just a little bit extra there. Maybe even a little too much on the fruit. And then, again, going and changing the color of the line art here. So it's more of a saturated than a gray. Make that actually even more subtle. I just want to add... Let's see here. Yeah. I really don't want to overdo it. It's very, very subtle, but it still just adds like a tiny, tiny bit there. Alright, and then the main thing is basically the hair at this point. And I really, honestly have no idea how to do it because they did such crazy things with this hair. But we're gonna try it anyway. You know? Let me see if I can try to at least break up the main shapes for it. And it would help to not throw things in the wrong layer. Oh, this hair adds so much, but I'm running out of time. Alright, let's try to make it a little bit on the speedier side. Try to experiment being a little quick. A little quick. Yeah. There's so much movement going on. I think once I get the movement in, it'll look a lot better. It'll flow. It'll flow nicer. I don't want to start rushing it now after I spent so much time on each other element, but... I'm also doing my best to not... It's still a very, very loose way of painting hair, you know? So I'm trying to not overdo it too much. I think I should switch over to YouTube so the chat isn't as confusing. Oh, sorry about that. I had cursed profile picture. I can't even see what it is, but I believe you. Alright. There's definitely like a full blue in there, so we're just gonna go straight in with blue. And then it gets very, very desaturated very quickly. There we go. Alright, I think we're doing well so far here. Probably need to desaturate towards the edges where it's... This was probably, like, done fully saturated and was then thrown with a layer of, like, a cool blue or gray on top, honestly. That's what I'd imagine, anyway. Casso, if you want to share any of your blacksmithing work, I have a art-focused Discord, and it's just good also to get notified when I'm going live and everything. But there is a channel in it called 3D Art, or 3D and Model Painting, I think, something like that. If you wanted to throw it in there for other people to see as well. And for anyone else who wants to join the Discord, it's a safe for work server, but we would be happy to have you. Let me just throw a link over there if you are interested, and no pressure. It's definitely better for notifications, though, that's for sure. Sometimes YouTube and Twitch really mess up the notifications. I really can't figure out how this hair is being done. This is like kind of the part that's gonna throw me off. There's so much movement going on in here. Oh, come on. How is this light color the same as this dark color? Alright. My gosh, grays. You can do an entire painting with grays and have no idea what you're doing. Grays are just another animal to deal with. There we go. I think we're like halfway done with the hair at least. I'm kind of glad that it's as abstract as it is. Not gonna lie. The abstract nature of it definitely helps. Feels a lot less intimidating, feels a lot less like you have to get it perfect, you know? I definitely want to capture a lot of these highlights. Except I'm kind of reaching the part that it gets complicated. Oh well. It's gonna be fairly strict highlights. I'm gonna get to sharpen in another thing I had made before the convention, but never had time to sharpen. That's fair. Have a good rest of your day, Casso, and thank you for stopping by. I'm dying here. I really wish I could figure out how this artist had done their hair. I can't figure it out. There's so many little tiny elements going on that I'm not really sure what they were doing. Alright, make that a little bit lighter here. There we go. These are just gonna be highlights, right? Okay. These are just gonna be highlight colors. The study looks nice? Well, thank you. I'm glad you think so. I'm definitely learning a lot from it. The nice thing about the study is you don't have to make as many decisions, right? Like, when you're doing a study, all the decisions have been done for you. So a lot of it is just, sort of putting into practice, you know, color theory and observation skills. So it doesn't take as long as a normal piece would take. Like, I probably could not do this if it wasn't for a study, you know? At least not at the level I'm at currently. There's so much going on that I would probably be, like, undoing, redoing, and overthinking. But because it's a study, it's all sort of been predetermined in a way. So I don't feel... It doesn't feel as much that I have to sort of think about my way of approaching it. But you can seriously learn so much about, you know, color theory and composition and highlights and effects and everything. Alright, and if I just sort of take this like a piece at a time, it's doable. It's not super scary. I just sort of have to break it down. Like, look at one area at a time. And this is probably, like, the least accurate part of it. But it's basically all just rough brush strokes that kind of somehow make sense. I get caught up in the details. See, I normally get caught up in the details, and I'm intentionally using this as a practice to try to learn how to not get caught up in the details, because I normally am very much in the details. In the weeds, as some might call it. So this is sort of forcing me to not be as detail obsessed as I normally would be. That's another reason I really like this artist, is they are intentionally very abstract with the work they do. You don't really get to have many details with how they do things. I mean, there's still a lot going on. There's still a lot of details that are phenomenally done. But it's like, it's almost illusory. Like, it is very detailed, but when you zoom in, like, the pieces are very rough. Alright, which way is this hair going? If it's not for the anime eyes, it feels like an old classical painting. I know, right? That's one of the reasons I really love this artist. Dino makes a lot of paintings that feel classical, but with an anime flair to them. They had this one piece that was like, I think it was like a maid looking piece, but not like made as we would think of anime maid, but made as in like old Renaissance maid. And it honestly looked like something I would see from like Sargent or Rembrandt or something. It was a very classical looking piece. I love old classical paintings. I want to make paintings like that someday. Yeah. There's absolutely something phenomenal to them. And I think that's like, that's why I love this so much, is because it does evoke that classical painting feel. But with a bit of an anime flair that makes it stand out as its own thing, you know? And I think that's very powerful. I think classical is definitely a great way to describe it, though. And at this point, I'm just sort of trying to add a little bit of the variations that they have in all the strands. Oh, you know what? You know where you might have seen Dino's work if you're not familiar with the artist currently? Dino did the illustrations for for Holomyth's nonfiction song. The illustrations in that music video were done by Dino. And you can kind of see it, right? It kind of has those, like, very intense, painterly strokes and motifs to it. I had actually already been following Dino, but then when I found out that they were also the artist for that, I kind of flipped out because I love nonfiction. It's probably, like, my favorite Hololive song, period. So it's really cool that a lot of, like, really well-known and admired artists are getting some big corporate VTuber works as well. That really is the goal someday, you know, being able to do a style like this just completely on your own, not as a master study. Being able to take commissions like that, I would love that so much. Alright. I'm gonna make a little bit of a pass, a lighter pass here. Just so I can sort of speed up the effect. I don't want it super hard on the edges, though. Just very subtly here. There we go. Oh, shoot. Alright, I guess I can't do that. Alright, that's fine. I'll just paint over it. And I feel like this is actually a little bit... You know what? Wait. Maybe this is slightly too warm. Let's try to remove the saturation. I just want it a little bit lighter. There we go. Never heard of that song, but I will check it out later. It sounds cool. Nonfiction is basically a song from Holomyth that kind of, like, perfectly illustrates how I feel about VTubing. And it's like, I don't know if it hit other people as much as it did me, but the first time I listened to it, I was crying. I was like, this is exactly why I do this, you know? I think I actually have it pinned in the Discord. If you're in the Discord and you look in the images and media channel, I'm pretty sure I have it pinned. Alright, now we have to go with the really, really light highlights. Yeah. Yeah, definitely check it out. Even just from, like, a creative standpoint, I think it's also really powerful. Alright, I'm gonna just, yeah. That a little lower. There we go. Puts it on better, even playing field for the color. Soften that up a little bit on the edge here. I don't want to lose the tiny bits of strokes that I have with the eyelashes, so I'm gonna have to go back in and make sure to revise that. Throw in a little bit more highlights here and there. little bit here. I almost wonder if I didn't need to do that add glow effect, but... yeah, I think I just need to unify it with an airbrush, maybe. And then just sort of soften overall. Maybe make it a little more yellow. So it's not as... she's not like super redhead, so... I mean, like, it's warm. But there's also a lot of color subtlety in it. And there's tiny strokes that almost give like a kind of crystal-y quality, which is really cool. I really like that. And then on the top here again, there's just going to be a little more, ever so slightly. There's going to be an airbrush on this so that the rest sort of melds together with it. And then I think I'll just start throwing in the lightest of highlights here. Very strong. Like pure white. I'm gonna make my brush really tiny so that I can really emphasize it here. And there's a few base strands. There's a little bit more of a blue. Still a little more of a blue-white, but these random colors of highlights are also teaching me a lot. And again, some raw strokes, maybe a little bit of blue in there, just to sort of add some visual interest. Need to make sure not to forget to do this section here. This little section right here, don't want to forget that. Make sure I didn't forget any highlight parts. I don't think I did. And they definitely have more interesting brushes than me going through this, but and just make sure I add some raw edges on the hair, on the edge of the hair, so that it's not so flat. Little part in there. I think we're just about wrapping up here. See if there's any other part that I'm missing. Where did I have the... Alright, move this a tiny bit more. Where was that? Yeah, here we go. I want to remove some more of the lines. That corner a hair darker. And what was I saying I needed to fix? The eyelashes on the other side here. Need to go back to bringing that really hot color in. And then I just need to add that little peachy part to the underside of the hair. That's gonna be tricky. Come on. What color does that need to be? What layer is this, just so I don't mess it up? Just a little bit of a yellow glow. I'm probably cutting it back down a little. I just have to figure out how I can do this for others eventually. It'd be really cool to take commissions in this style. Not that I would, you know, try to copy Dino's style, I just mean the Renaissance painting effect. Just loose, brushy paintings are something that I would really love to do. Besides, I don't even think Dino takes individual commissions, so... I think when you get to that level, you're at like, you know, company, corporate, or nothing. You get your pick of the litter at that point. It's fun being loose in your art. Yeah, exactly. It's something I really want to, like, push myself to doing more because I'm really usually not. And it's something that I think that I should be, that I think fits where I want my work to go. But I sort of have to train myself to do it almost, which is, you know, why we're using this as a stream to begin with. Like, I don't know how to work loose, and I have to actively try sometimes. You know, it's always been hard for me to do it that way, but I want to try to develop it. Alright, and then I think I just need to add a little bit more highlights here. This piece. It took me a bit to be more loose and more comfortable doing it in my art. Yeah. It's definitely tricky for sure. Because you always, like, it's hard to not overthink what you're working on, you know? You want to put out the best work you can, but sometimes the best work ends up being things where you can see the brush strokes and you can see the emotion in things. Still not good at being loose, but I'm more comfortable being loose, IDK. Lots of practice, right? I think that Dino is such a master of loose painting. I think I have a hard time being loose because, like, I spend most of my time doing, you know, like, Vtuber assets and such, which by definition are not loose. They're extremely crisp. They're meant to look like, you know, almost stock art-like. So I don't usually work loosely, but my goal for next year is to spend a lot more time doing stuff like this. Because I can see myself developing this to a more refined level. And by refined level, I mean in terms of business, not in terms of rendering. I think not having it super refined is the beauty of it. My goal next year is trying not to do clean line art and focus more on rendering because I hate doing line art. Same! Oh my gosh, same. That is absolutely one of the reasons why I want to definitely be pushing this. I was doing line art for, like a design project where I had to do, like, you know, clean reference sheet, clean character, and I'm just like, I forgot how much I didn't like doing this. Yeah, clean line art is such a pain. I mean, I admire people who can do it, but I honestly find more beauty in this sort of looser style, I think. Alright, I think I'm actually just gonna ironically dull this one more time because I think I actually went too much on this piece here. There we go. No, actually normal? Normal. Normal with a tiny bit of cutting it down, cutting it back. Yeah, I think that works. And then a tiny bit on the hair here. Oh man, okay. And I need to fix the neck. The neck's definitely thinner. Grendel, hello! Welcome, welcome! I'm sorry, we're like just wrapping up here, I think. But I really appreciate you stopping in to say hi. How are things going? How have exams been going? Tell me that before I stop here. I'm hoping everything is going well. Alright. Tiny bit here and a tiny bit there. And okay. Last thing. Jeez, I keep thinking that I'm like almost done and then I keep noticing things. Alright. I need to push the hand in and the face in just a bit more, like so. Huge difference there. And she needs the pearls. I forgot the pearls. That shouldn't take too long. I keep thinking that oh well. That won't take long. Let's just throw the pearls in real fast. Gigantic exams coming up on the 11th and 13th of December, but I aced the oral exam. It's been terribly stressful, but I think I might just do it this time. I really, I believe in you, Grendel. I'm seriously wishing the best. Okay. Alright, we just gotta do the pearls. Ah! Is it... Let's just try doing it in this color to start. This is not a good brush for it. Alright, let's try... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. This is gonna be tricky. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're not going to be as perfectly round as they should be, but oh well. I'm already going over time, but that's okay. Alright, and then the little connector piece here. I still haven't checked your mascot creation VOD, but I'm looking forward to it. It looks promising. Thank you! I still need to, like, actually turn that into a video at some point. I know! I forgot the pearls! I'm sorry! I got it. It's okay. We're throwing it in now. It's all good. Jeez, I love the song. Oh, that needs to be textured with a brush. I can't figure out what color this is supposed to be. It's like nearly the background color. Alright, it's probably like a really desaturated yellow, right? Isn't that what we decided that this was made with? A really desaturated yellow? A light desaturated yellow? And then super bright highlight. I'm trying to think if there's any other, like, really intensely saturated points here. Probably, like, up here on the top and right there. That's about right. Right? I feel like this background just needs to be a hair lighter on the bottom here. You know, again, we're trying to contrast. We're doing our best to contrast. Compare and contrast. I'm gonna trim the line art a tiny bit, color a tiny bit. There we go. The rest can be a bit more loose. There we go. And then these are basically blurred, I think. I'm just gonna filter that. That's gonna be easier to filter. About there, maybe? And then it looks like some of the colors just kind of go right to the edge. Oh, I'm using the blue. Jeez, that's not useful. Hang on. No, go back. Alright. I wasn't adding color, I was just blurring it more. There we go. And once you blur it, it of course gets more desaturated, so then you have to go back and add the highlight again. Probably should have just done the highlight after. Learning as I'm going, literally. I can't get 1-to-1 on this color, but I think it's close enough. What do you guys think? Alrighty. I legit think yours is better? Oh, no, no. Definitely not, no. No, this person is a master, and I'm only the copycat. I wouldn't know what to do if I was just doing this straight. The only reason I can do it at all is because I'm just copying the master. That's how the master studies work, you know? Just gonna sharpen this a little bit more. Just like I see on there. There we go. Why does this look way more saturated now? Alright. Better, 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 better. Good enough. Alright. I think... I'll just throw that here. Wah. Wah. It's like just a stray brush stroke, but still. Alrighty. I think we are finished. I think we are finished today. Oof. This was definitely a fun piece, and I definitely learned a lot. I should try to do some master studies, but I'm too lazy to. Make it a goal to do, like, you know, maybe once a quarter. It's really helpful, honestly. Alright. Last tiniest thing ever, because I realized that we forgot the lip. I, like, can't let this go enough. There. Oi! Alright. This definitely taught me a lot, especially about color. Would you believe me if I told you that the majority of this painting was in gray? Like, I'm not kidding. Like, if you guys take a look here at this wheel, like, gray, 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 gray. This is, like, all very gray. Very gray and desaturated. Gray. Mid-ground. Grayish. There's a lot of gray going on. Which is good, because then, like... Yeah, this is all, like, mid-ground, mid-tone. And then when you add the really, really bright thing... I need to stop seeing things I missed. I'm never gonna get out of here if I keep seeing the things I missed. I even talked about it earlier. I was mentioning the beads on the fruit, and I forgot the beads on the fruit. I keep missing tiny microcosmic elements to this. Help. Alright. There we go. Good enough. I like the colors in yours more. I don't know why. Probably because I tend to oversaturate everything. Be unshackled by perfectionistic paralysis. It's hard. It's really hard. Like, I'm still trying to learn how to get over it. This whole piece has been an exercise in attempting to let go perfectionism and slightly failing. Ugh. Alright. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I'm not gonna touch it anymore. I promise. Thank you so much, Stargazers, for hanging out with me today. It's been a ton of fun. I'm not really sure what we're gonna be doing Tuesday. If you have any ideas, let me know, and I will potentially consider them. But thank you so much for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. And all the best.